This segment isn't a summary, it's a call to attention, a reminder that the work of designing, building, and storytelling is never finished, it's maintained. And that's what this conversation has ultimately shown. Not a roadmap, but a rhythm, a way of rethinking that holds both clarity and complexity in the same breath. The world is full of marketing. What advice would you give to students about learning to spot the truth and trusting their own judgment?
Yeah, this is a big issue because there's millions of YouTube videos that are completely false, news articles that are completely false, and it's extremely frustrating because I get people email me this stuff, which just wastes my time, saying, look at this, look at this, look at this, and it's just garbage, just clearly false nonsense. And I don't have the time to answer them and say, mate, this is fake. And there's news channels about China on YouTube, about different things where the majority of the information there is complete bullshit. But they're being watched by millions of viewers, and I'm talking millions of viewers, where these people are saying claims like this company's, the end of the industry, China's about to be bankrupt, all these crazy things. It is difficult probably for people to find truth from fact, but I think that most channels without a face on them are harder to, probably less likely to trust the information. It's often they're AI driven. A lot of people are starting channels and news websites as well without an actual face to them. That's one way I think is a little easier. But ultimately, I think if you have a narrative, you're more likely to be trying to sell that narrative. Like if you're anti-EV, you have a narrative to say why they won't work, why internal combustion's better. If you're pro-EV, like me, you probably have a narrative to say why they will work. But ultimately, I think if you watch, say, a few videos from that channel, you can probably establish whether or not some of the stuff they say is completely nonsensical. And then that can give you an idea of whether or not that channel or that news source is actually telling the truth. I think if you're general news media and your advertisers are clearly part of your business model, then your vested interest is to say what they want you to say. For me personally, I don't even know who advertises my channel. I wouldn't have a clue. I've never even watched any of my ads ever. I have YouTube Premium, so I don't watch the ads. So I've got no idea. So I can't possibly benefit because I don't know who's doing it. So obviously the big channels in Australia in particular, the big media channels, they are owned by people with vested interests. Many of them are. Channel 7, for example, they were one of the biggest news channels in Australia, and the owner has massive vested interest in fossil fuel companies. And they are all anti-EV because they are trying to slow it down very clearly. So I think if you're watching a news channel and that channel relies on advertising and you look at their top advertisers, you can see they're going to support them and going to say what suits them and fits into their narrative. In addition to that, the mainstream media, 95% of the news they share is negative. So in my opinion, it's an enormous mistake to watch that on a regular basis.